Hey, Taz. Never mind. Hello, Taz.
Hey,
How you
I was
doing?
trying to find some of the pages and
Okay.
I found them, but like when I tried to get on there, my Wi-Fi was messing up.
Okay.
Yeah, like the pages was glitching up, but I'm gonna try to finish them tonight.
Okay, that's fine.
And I went up to the school last Friday. I didn't have any
Uh-huh.
packets or nothing.
I
I don't
think
know.
because you've done a lot of the work online, I think I emailed you your packets.
Yeah, and other classes, it wasn't no work up there, and I was just like, I looked through a lot of the stacks, and I didn't see a basket to turn in any work either out
Huh.
there. It was just
Yeah, if you're trying to turn in stuff and there's not a basket and it's, during like between 9:30 and 2:30, like I would call the school from the front door and say, "Hey, I'm at the door. I'm trying to turn stuff in, but there's not a box. What do I do?"
yeah. I thought about that. I said maybe I should call because I seen like a pizza company come up there, and I was like, it got to be in there because the pizza
Yeah.
place is just not gonna go.
Yeah, if it's between like 9 and 2, there's going to be somebody in there for sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'm looking. I sent you stuff on May 1st as far as notes and reading packets. So
How many more packets do we have? Cause I
that
oh
that was the last one.
oh okay. Cause I've only seen it Unit 7. I was like, okay, is it gonna be a Unit 8, Unit 9?
No, Unit Seven's the last one. And the same day on May 1st, I sent another smaller attachment because there was one of the homework assignments that wasn't in the Unit 7 packet. So I wanted to make sure y'all had that. But the last assignment that I gave was due on May 6th. So there's no new assignments due, just filling in the stuff that is already due and you're set.
All right. So I've sent you my packet already with the questions and all that. So I
Yeah,
just gotta
you
finish like the homework and stuff.
correct.
Okay.
Um, anything else?
No,
Okay.
Jacayla was like, I'm not doing no more work because I passed the first quarter. So how is that gonna go? Like if
Who
you
said who
don't do
said
no,
that?
Jacayla.
Okay. Yeah, basically, I'm looking something up real quick. Basically, we were explained last week at a staff meeting. Um, whatever you got for the third quarter is the worst grade you can get. So, like, um, trying to think. Like, let's say you had an F for the third quarter, which she didn't. Okay. Um, then what you would need to do is do work during the fourth quarter, which is when we've been home, to try to bring your grade up. And if it brings your grade up to passing, then you pass. If you had an F for the third quarter and you don't fix it, then instead of giving you an F, they're going to give you a withdrawal grade, and they might be able to let you make up work over summer school to get credit, or they'll re-enroll you in the class, but your GPA would not go down. They would count it as a withdrawal instead of a fail. If you passed quarter three, but it doesn't help your GPA, like let's say you get B's and C's most of the time, but you got a D in this class or a math class or something, then you can ask the school to change the number grade into a pass grade. And they would put it on your transcript as pass instead of a D or a whatever. And then you would get credit for the course, but it wouldn't do anything to your GPA one way or the other. Um, because we're all going to enter in number grades. All the teachers are. We were told that, and then it's up for the student to say, "Hey, this is going to hurt my GPA. I want it to be a pass rather than a number." Um, if your third quarter number grade helps your GPA, then you just leave it alone. And if your fourth quarter grade brings up the third quarter grade, like, let's say you had a 95 the first quarter and you had a 98 the fourth quarter, then you would keep both of them because the 98 would bring up the 95. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't bring up the grade, then they'll just ignore the fourth quarter and go with whatever you had for the third quarter.
Okay. So basically, if you had, say, somebody had all A's and they just third quarter and they didn't do none of the work in fourth quarter, will they still pass? And could
If
they
they
still
got,
pick option one?
yeah, if they passed the third quarter, then they would get credit for the course, and if that number helps their GPA, they wouldn't tell anyone anything, and that number would just stand in their transcript. If they got all A's and their third quarter grade doesn't help them, then you can tell the school, and they haven't told us who to tell yet. They'll tell us that probably in the next couple of weeks. But you would tell the school, hey, I don't want to take the number grade. I want to just take a pass, like a pass fail. Like, and the technical thing for it is PC19. And that's what would go instead of the number grade. But you would get credit for the class with a pass. You just wouldn't be in your GPA.
Oh.
And you can do that for any of the classes.
My work. I just gotta finish like turning in stuff. Like I just gotta send it to the teacher because when I went up there, I didn't see anything. Hopefully this Friday will it be?
Yeah, you've got until
this Friday.
Yeah, you've got until the 28th to turn in stuff, and like I said, I'm done with giving out stuff because I'm not doing anything new. So I mean, our last homework assignment, like I said, was on May 6th. So I've got literally 1 day's worth of notes sitting in front of me to go over it with you if you want.
Is that for like every teacher?
No, some teachers are still assigning stuff, and some teachers are done. That's just up to the individual teacher and where they're at in their curriculum. So that would be something to ask individually.
Oh.
But I'm trying to give you guys a chance to just turn in what you have and learn what you can learn and be done with it. That's how I'm treating it.
Yeah, because I know my math teacher, she was like, she gave us 2 packets and then she gave us 2 assignments online. But she was like, the assignment online, I'm not grading. Just do the work. Like, this is basically
Yeah,
however you
I
want
mean,
to do it.
everything I've assigned in fourth quarter is just being graded on how much of it you did or not. I mean, I'm not checking to see if it's accurate or not. Now, like for the warm up assignments, I know what the questions are. I can just put them in a separate tab, so I'll give feedback on it, but I'm not grading it. On accuracy. I'm just grading on if you did it or not. So, I got kids in your class that have hundreds and over 100 for quarter four because they've done literally everything. So, yeah, I'm counting. You got about 10 or so different assignments. I think most of them are warm ups, and you're good to go. So, you got anything else?
No.
Okay. Do you want me to go over this one day's worth of notes that I have, or it's up to you?
I mean, you can.
Okay. Well, yeah, pretty much the only notes I got is for last Tuesday, which we would have went over if we had a class, and it's basically about the Transcontinental Railroad. And it's one of those things they have been talking about for about 10 years or so, give or take. The idea that, we got these states out in California, we got from Mexico, we got to connect them better to the east. It'll help out the economy and all that. But the Civil War is really when it got going. Lincoln and Congress agreed that it's time to quit talking about it and it's time to do it. They kind of did it in a smart way. The idea was, hey, let's start here in the middle of the country where all the railroads stop and go west. But there were a few railroads, like little ones out in California. And so they said, hey, let's take the one in California that's the closest to us and start building this way. And then we'll take the other one and build. So that way you move twice as fast and get the job done quicker. They contracted with 2 different railroad companies to build it. They also gave the railroad companies, in addition to the cash, land on both sides. So, like, here's the railroad line. You got 20 miles this way, 20 miles that way. So that you have this big strip of land following the railroad, so they could sell the land or rent out the land and make money that way. The 2 of them started moving. One in Omaha, Nebraska, moving across the Great Plains. The other in Sacramento, California, going over the mountains. The people they got to work on it were immigrants because it's a cheaper source of labor. You got a lot of Irish immigrants who need work, and so they would recruit Irish immigrants and say, "Hey, you can make $1 a day," which back then's a lot of money. And so you had 10,000 Irish immigrants working to go west, and then they're coming across the Atlantic to come to the East Coast, but California faces the Pacific Ocean. So if you cross the Pacific Ocean, Taz, what continent do you have on the other side of the Pacific?
I don't even know.
Well, it's Asia. And so can you think of like a big country in Asia that's got a lot of people?
No.
Well, China's the country, and China was a hot
Oh, I
mess.
was gonna say Japan.
Well, that would have been a good guess, and there were a lot of Japanese that'll eventually come to California, but at this time you got a lot of Chinese coming, and so you actually had the railroad companies go to China and recruit Chinese workers to come over, and so you had 10,000 Chinese making $1 a day going like this, and you had 10,000 Irish immigrants coming like that, and they eventually met up in Utah. That's where the railroad met up. So I'm going to show you a couple of pictures, and we'll be about set. That's what. Yeah. Oh man, it's awful. Trying to find a good picture. That'll work. All right. So you see the picture okay, Taz?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the 2 railroads meeting up in Utah. Right in the middle, you see the CEOs of both the eastern side and the western side railroad shaking hands. But if you look in the picture, there aren't any Asians anywhere. They're all white people. And they actually told the Chinese workers to back out of the shot because they did not want to give the impression that Chinese people built the railroad. They kind of wanted to make it look like white people did, which is pretty messed up. But the railroad's finished, and the good thing about that is is now you have a way that you can ship farm goods from the West Coast to the East Coast. They're going to start finding minerals, gold, silver, etc., in the West, and now you have a way to get that in and out a lot easier. It's going to be easier for people to move to California if they want to. So all of this stuff is able to move around more easily. And on the map that I think is still, yeah, it's still up here. You can see that that's only the first railroad. This is the Transcontinental Railroad that I'm putting my cursor on, 1869. That's the first one. But then you start to see they get other ones that go up to the northwest, down to the southwest, down across the south near Mexico. And so you're going to have a whole network of these things crisscrossing the West. And, before it would take about a year to go all the way from New York all the way to California on horse and buggy and whatnot. Now you can take a train, go from San Francisco to New York, and it takes about a week, which, very weirdly enough, 2020, over 150 years later, it still takes a week. It's pretty sad. But that's the Transcontinental Railroad, unless you had any questions or anything about it. You good to go? Taz? Hello, Taz. Great. Well, Taz bounced. I'm done. See y'all later.